Okay, so we're going to do scapular retraction from a prone position. Now the intent of this exercise is to improve range of movement for scapular retraction. So that means scapula's coming together, almost like you were holding a pencil between your shoulder blades. For this exercise, it may be helpful to have some yoga blocks or books of a similar height. Okay, or you can do this on rings, leaning forward, taking you into scapular retraction. You could do it from a press-up position if you can hold it for that long. Now, the stretch we are going to be feeling, first and foremost, is going to be at the front of this exercise. At the front of your chest. Okay, so as you've come back, we're trying to create a little bit more room in this connective tissue here to enable you to get the shoulder blades together a little bit more. Because this is a PAILs and RAILs effort, we're going to be holding that passive stretch for 2 minutes, okay, in the initial phase. We're going to employ PAILs and RAILs, so that means ramping up isometric contractions in 2 directions, one to load the stretch tissue, and then one to strengthen the tissues that would help pull you back further into retraction. You will then repeat those PAILs and RAILs efforts for however many rounds that are in your program, holding a passive stretch for 30 seconds to a minute between each sets of isometric effort. Some compensations that you can find with this would be to lift the elbow too much, allowing the shoulders to collapse forward, or lifting the chest up off the floor. We want most of the work, or in fact all of the work, really going on across the shoulder blades. Once again, this is scapular retraction, PAILs and RAILs with a passive stretch. The setup that I'm going to use is prone on the floor, and I tell you what, I'll do the first one without. So you're going to lie prone and you're going to work your hands back pretty much into like a press-up position and see what kind of retraction that you've got pulling your shoulder blades together there. Once you've pulled them together, can you relax them so that your shoulders don't collapse forward but remain back here without lifting into the spine? If you feel like you've got more room, you can then start to build yourself up, and that puts you into deeper passive retraction of the scapulas. Now, as we said, because it's a passive stretch, you're going to stay here for 2 minutes. And once that happens, you can then start your isometric PAILs and RAILs. So a PAILs movement in this instance would be to start to contract all the muscles that would help you get the shoulder blades to wrap around the rib cage and bring them forward into protraction. We will dial that up through percentages of effort, up to whatever the percentages are in your program, and then we will immediately switch to a RAILs contraction and try and pull deeper into protraction. Again, if you imagine that you had a pencil between your shoulder blades, you're trying to squeeze that pencil without letting the shoulder come up and forward. Shoulder blades in together. So from here, you've done your passive stretch, breathing, trying to get into as much passive range as possible, in through the nose, out through mouth. We then take a breath and start our PAILs contraction, trying to push or protract our shoulder blades forwards, wrapping them round. Three, 2, 1, then pull together. It will feel like you're pulling your shoulder blades together, and also that your chest is getting closer to the floor as your hands start to feel light. 2, 1, relax, and then reset. If you've been afforded a little bit more room, you can then start to build up further without those shoulders rolling forwards or coming up towards the ears.